Light flared around her, bright and flickering. Her body felt wrenched and twisted in 100 different directions, and it was all she could do to keep her grip on her light blade. Just when she thought that her body would rip itself apart, that she'd be reduced to screams and pieces, she broke through to the other side. Kira hit the ground hard, gasping, her stomach threatening to empty as she gagged on a mouthful of sand. A surge of pressure squeezed her eardrums, then Khefar dropped to the ground beside her. He sucked in a huge rush of air as if he'd been suffocating, then rolled over. "By the left eye of Horus, that hurt," he groaned. "But still less painful than what Nancy takes me through, for his own amusement, I believe. Did you make it through all right?" "I'll let you know when I find the rest of my insides." She considered it a small victory that she could sit up beside him. "So it looks like Gunderson was right, and we're somewhere across the Nile from Cairo." He straightened to a sitting position, surveying their surroundings. His grimace froze. "We're not." "What do you mean, we're not?" Kira asked. "I'm sitting in a pile of sand and rocks. I see pyramids. Where else could we be?" "Look." She looked. The city lay to the east across the river, the Giza Plateau stretching to the west behind them, except it wasn't quite the plateau she'd visited with Comstock a few years before. This Cairo didn't seem to have sunlight, just a late-day sky that couldn't make up its mind whether it wanted to be green, blue, yellow, or choked with golden brass clouds. But most of all, there were no people. Anywhere. Giza was one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world, but there was not a soul in sight. She surveyed the replica of the Giza Plateau. The more she looked, the more wrong it became. There were the 3 main pyramids of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, and their respective mortuary temples, with causeways separating them from the valley temples, the smaller pyramids for the various queens, the legendary and awkwardly shaped Great Sphinx, whose face seemed so different from its body, though she couldn't place this face on this version. Surrounding those were the eastern and western cemeteries of nobles, the mastabas dotting the landscape. But there were walls bounding the entire complex, making the plateau seem even higher above the surrounding area. Further to the west lay a structure that looked like a temple, except no temple existed there in real life. Where the city of Cairo encroached in the real world, here it shimmered in the distance, far on the other side of the river that ran blue-black in the odd light. Cairo, the real Cairo, was stuffed with more than 16 million people who were out and about at all times of the day, especially at night. Yet she and Khefar seemed to be the only living beings in this world. Nothing moved in the twilight landscape, as if someone had built a movie set of Cairo to scale but forgotten to call the actors in. What in the world? "That's the problem," Khefar said, offering her a hand up. "I don't think it's in the world. Not our world, anyway." "That's just peachy." She slapped away most of the dusty, gritty, not quite sand. "Something else you know about that I don't. I expect a full explanation when we're done here." He nodded. "Of course." "So we aren't in Kansas, Cairo, or Oz. How are we supposed to find Gunderson now?" As if in answer, a shout cut through the still air of, "Not Giza." Khefar lifted his guns. That sounded as if it came from Khafre's temple. Khefar took off at a brisk trot, weapons ready. Kira followed cautiously, not sure what to expect. Being in this twilight place felt like reaching through the veil. It felt like a place of magic, ancient magic, unknown magic. It made her glad that the original Vessel of Nun was safe with Win, Zu, and Anansi. As for who wanted the Vessel of Nun, they were about to find out.